everyone, how are you guys doing today? I hope that my Naturalicious Nation peeps are killing it today. It is a beautiful, beautiful day outside. Awesome, awesome, awesome day, and I'm so glad to spend it with some of you. I know I said I was gonna get on here a couple days ago, but I got sidetracked and then I dropped my phone and the screen cracked, so I really couldn't go live, and it was just a mess. I had to get the screen fixed, so here I am today, and I wanted to come to you with what I promised a couple days ago, and that was to tell you what to look for when you are at the store shopping for moisturizer. So most of you guys know that in order to combat dry hair, what you need is moisturizer, right? We always hear people say, oh, I need to get a moisturizer, or, you know, I use X, Y, and Z moisturizer, it's not working. I use A, B, and C moisturizer, it is working, what have you. So moisturizer is key to all of your hair issues. Almost all your hair issues, literally. Breakage can be solved by adequate moisture. Shedding can sometimes be solved by adequate moisture. Split ends. Now, split ends are going to occur because that's just the nature of hair. It's going to split, but they can split less and less often if you are using a good moisturizer. Let's see, what else? Brittleness, all that stuff can be combated by using a good moisturizer. So the question is, well, what constitutes a good moisturizer? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. I'm going to tell you guys in just a minute. First, I want to tell you guys what not to have in your moisturizer. So this goes for any brand. I know that, you know, I own Naturalicious. This is not brand specific, okay? So we're not talking about Naturalicious. We're not talking about any other brand specifically. We are talking solely about brand agnostically what you should be looking for when you go to the store. Of course, I would love it if you bought Naturalicious. But if you don't buy Naturalicious, I still want you to be educated on what it is that you should be looking for. Because what I find is that in this day and age, we've been in this new sort of quote unquote new natural hair wave, if you will, for what, 10 years now or so? Or coming up on 10 years. And what boggles my mind is that there's so many products available. So much information, so many blogs, so many videos, so much information available, but yet and still, most of us still don't know what in the world to do with our hair, which is crazy to me, right? We're 10 years strong in this, so we should know what to do with our hair. I asked you guys just a couple weeks ago, I said, hey, I think like last week, I said, hey, who feels like they have all the information they could ever need for their hair but still don't know what to do with their hair? And every single one of you commented and said, me. You all raised your hand. I saw some people with 20 thumbs up across the screen. I saw a whole lot of people, but everybody commented and said they feel that way. So what I've realized is that the reason that a lot of us feel like we don't know what in the world to do with our hair is because, one, there's a lot of information. A lot of it is misinformation, and a lot of it is conflicting information, right? Also, we don't have a good knowledge of ingredients. Like, we know certain things to stay away from, but certain things, again, that can be conflicting. Some people will say to stay away from cones, silicones. Some people say cones are okay. Some people say stay away from parabens. Some people say parabens are okay. You know, sulfates, not sulfates, you know, who knows what, all right? So that is the problem. We don't have proper, correct knowledge of ingredients. To be quite honest, if you have ingredient knowledge, it will save your life. It will save you so much money. It will save you so much time, because what will happen is you won't be going to the store just looking for brands. Because to be honest, I mean, listen, I own a brand, and I can tell you that, to be honest, brands create products. Yes, we all create products. Some of us create great products. Some of us create subpar products. Some of us create crappy products. But at the end of the day, we all create products. But what differentiates the good products from those not so good products are the ones that have the excellent ingredients. So I'm going to do a whole series on ingredients because I really, really want you guys to be educated on what you should be looking for when you are at the store, so you can save money, you can save time. You know, I'm all about saving time, so I don't want anybody wasting their money and wasting their time and feeling frustrated with this whole natural hair game. Even if you aren't quote unquote natural, if you are a relaxed person, or if you are someone who wears your hair without chemicals but presses it or what have you, at the end of the day it boils down to ingredients. That's really it. It boils down to what's in those products. Also, the formulation of those ingredients is important, but since we're not going to get into a whole chemistry class today, we're going to talk about ingredients. So today's class is going to be about moisturizers, and I'm focusing on moisturizers because that is the solvents to almost every hair pain point. So we're going to start with moisturizers, and then we'll do some other talks about, you know, shampoos and conditioners and co-washes versus shampoo and how I feel about that and my thoughts on that. And I'm really excited to talk about that one with you. Let's talk about moisturizers. Okay, first of all, if you have a pen and paper, write this down, okay? First of all, what you want to stay away from, I'm going to tell you what to stay away from and why you should stay away from it. First thing, you want to make sure that your moisturizer always, did I say always? Always has water as the first ingredient. I'm going to tell you why. First, water is the most moisturizing thing you can ever possibly put in your hair. Think about how your hair looks and feels when it's wet, right? The majority of people I know with curly hair or wavy hair always say, my hair looks really good when it's wet. My hair curls up when it's wet, girl. Your hair curls up when it's wet because it's in its most moisturized state it could possibly ever be. Water is such a huge moisturizer. People have been so misinformed about water that I've heard people say, you know, if you wash your hair too often, it'll make your hair dry. That's not true. That's not true at all. Water is extremely moisturizing. What makes your hair dry is when you wash your hair with products that have bad ingredients too often, right? So it's not the water, it's the ingredients in those products that you're using. But again, the whole shampoo thing is a different class, a different lesson for a different day. Water, water, water. Water needs to be the first ingredient because it is super duper moisturizing, okay? What good moisturizers do is combine water with excellent other ingredients to help that moisture level be retained in your hair over time. So of course, water evaporates, right? So you put water in your hair, over time it's going to dry because that's what water does. It dries, right? But again, good moisturizers combine water with some other amazing ingredients to help that level of moisture be retained in your hair longer, okay? That's the first thing. Water is your first ingredient, no matter what the brand is, okay? Doesn't matter what the brand is. It's all about water. First ingredient. Second thing, make sure there is no mineral oil in your moisturizer. No mineral oil in your moisturizer. Does anybody know what mineral oil comes from? Okay, nobody knows? Okay. Mineral oil actually comes from when they distill gasoline from crude oil. So, over in the Middle East, when they are separating gasoline that we put into our vehicles, okay, your SUV, your truck, your motorcycle, your car, whatever, when they are distilling gasoline from the crude oil that the gasoline comes from, when they separate that, what's left over is mineral oil. It is not minerals in the sense that we generally think. So when I ask someone, do you know what mineral oil is? A lot of times they'll be like, oh, yeah, it's oil with minerals. You know, and it's like, not quite. I mean, kind of, sort of, because I guess maybe crude oil, maybe has some minerals in it. I don't know. But it's not the type of minerals that we're thinking like is beneficial for the body. It's not at all, right? And here's the thing. When the gas companies get separated and they have the byproduct of the mineral oil that's left over, it is actually more expensive for them to dispose of it than it is to sell it to cosmetic companies. Now, think about this. If something is expensive to dispose of, that usually means that it's environmentally unfriendly and therefore toxic, right? Now, I think about when I got my air conditioner replaced some years ago. My air conditioner unit went out when I bought my house, and so I had to buy a new air conditioning unit. The old air conditioning unit had Freon in it, because that's what air conditioners have in it, right? The Freon we had to pay a special company to come get the Freon and dispose of it properly because it's environmentally unfriendly. It is toxic, right? It was expensive. It's not cheap to do that kind of thing. Anytime something is expensive to dispose of like that, it is toxic. All right? And so again, it's cheaper for them to sell it to the cosmetic companies than it is for them to dispose of it. So when you are putting a product that has mineral oil onto your hair or onto your skin or what have you, just know you're putting something that has toxins in it onto your hair and onto your body. Okay? That is one issue. First of all, like if you just think about putting crude oil onto your skin or your hair, you would be like, ew, that's gross, right? That's the first issue. But that's actually almost the secondary issue. The main issue with mineral oil when it comes to the hair is that it actually blocks moisture. So those of us who have dry hair, the last thing that we want is lack of moisture. We don't want anything blocking moisture getting to our hair, right? So if you have dry hair, you want all the moisture you can get in the world. You don't want anything that's going to block moisture. So let me give you an example. Let's assume that my wrist here is a strand of my hair, okay? And my watch is a product that has mineral oil in it, right? So let's say I have this product over here. My hand is serving as the prop for an additional product that has good moisturizing properties in it, right? So I'm going to try to put this onto my hair on top of this mineral oil. And you notice it's not going to get through, right? Because the mineral oil, my watch in this case, is blocking the moisture from getting to the hair. That's what mineral oil does. It blocks moisture from getting to your hair. What you will find in a lot of hair products, particularly moisturizers, if you find mineral oil in the product, guess what? It's always at the top of the list. And the reason for that is, you know, that anytime that you look at an ingredient list, what's at the top of the list is usually, and actually always, the most prominent in the list. Right? The most prominent ingredients in the, you know what I'm trying to say. The most prominent ingredients are at the top of the list, right? So everything else, you know, it kind of trickles down, right? So you almost always will find mineral oil at the very top. Guess what? It's like pennies on a dollar to buy mineral oil from the gasoline companies. So these companies, these beauty companies, they buy them from like literally big, huge drums of mineral oil. They will buy it from the gas companies because it's super cheap. Guess what? Companies are in business to make money, right? A lot of the companies, unfortunately, are not in business to really help you and your hair, right? They're in business to make money at the end of the day. So if they can buy a huge drum of mineral oil for $300, hypothetically, which is nothing, right? To buy a huge, like 3-ton drum or something of mineral oil and put it into a hair product, and the majority of that product be mineral oil, you just pay a ton of money for a product that is doing nothing for you, and they probably paid less than $1 to create it. And I'm just throwing out some numbers here, right? But at the end of the day, stay away from mineral oil. Now, the reason that mineral oil feels good in the beginning is because, again, it's literally, a product with mineral oil feels good. It's because literally it is like, think about it. Oil is slick, right? So when you first put it on your hair is going to be shiny. Oil is shiny, right? You go get some oil, you know, in your bathroom, some coconut oil or whatever, you put it on your skin, of course you're going to be shiny, right? Some jojoba oil or olive oil or whatever, you put it on your skin, your hair is going to be shiny in the moment, right? But what happens? Eventually that shine wears off. And that's what happens with mineral oil, right? So you put it on your hair, and your hair's shiny, and it feels good, and it looks good, and I just popped my earring off. Okay, it feels good, and it looks good in the moment, and then after so long, you'll start to feel like your hair starts to feel dry again, or that the shine has gone away, or what have you, and that's because moisture has been blocked from the mineral oil. The mineral oil is blocking your hair, so blocking the moisture from getting to your hair. So again, to recap about mineral oil, one, it's a byproduct of when they distill gasoline from crude oil. Gross, right? That's the first thing. Two, it is cheaper for them to dispose of it, to sell it off than to dispose of it, which means that it's toxic, right? Three, it actually when it comes to your beauty itself, it blocks moisture from getting to your hair, okay? So, again, if you have naturally dry hair, the last thing that you want in the world is a product that has mineral oil in it, which is going to block moisture from getting to your hair. All right? That's mineral oil. Stay away from mineral oil. It's not your friend. Okay, I know you can literally go to the store, like the drugstore, and buy mineral oil. Stay away from mineral oil, okay? Now, mineral oil can also be, I'm sorry. Lost my train of thought for a second. Okay, we're off mineral oil. We're going to move on to petrolatum. You don't want to see petrolatum in your hair product. No petrolatum. Petrolatum is very similar to, where's it at? I had like a little jar of Vaseline. Oh well, I don't know where it's at. But basically, petrolatum is very similar to petroleum jelly, right? And what is petroleum jelly? It's basically Vaseline. Vaseline has its place, but it does not have its place on your hair. Unless you are a little ratchet or so, and you're about to get into a fight, and you need to slick your hair back, and maybe that was just, okay, maybe that was just when I grew up. I don't know. But anyway, Vaseline has no place in your in your hair at all whatsoever, okay? Think about this. This is the analogy I always give about petrolatum, right? A lot of you watching have children. And so I feel like maybe not my generation, but the generation prior to me, like my mom and back, they oftentimes put Vaseline on their baby's bottoms. And why did they do that? They put Vaseline on their baby's bottoms to prevent the urine, when the baby would pee on itself in the diaper, it will provide a barrier between the pee and the diaper, so that, I'm sorry, provide a barrier between the baby's bottom and the pee, so that the baby didn't get diaper rash, right? So urine is a liquid, essentially it's a moisture, right? They're working to prevent moisture from getting to the baby's bottom so the baby doesn't have diaper rash. Same thing for your hair. When you put a product that has petrolatum in it, you are blocking moisture from getting to your hair, right? It's the same sort of concept. So stay away from petrolatum in your hair products. Those are the things you want to stay away from. Mineral oil, one, and petrolatum. You should not see any of those. I don't care what the brand is. I don't care what's on the front of the label. Turn that sucker around when you are at the store, in the aisle, before you spend your money, and make sure that those two things are not in your ingredient list. Now, mineral oil can get real sneaky, and it can hide itself, right? It oftentimes shows up under a different term called paraffinium liquidum. It is the exact same thing. It's just the FDA's term that they use for mineral oil, okay? Mineral oil can oftentimes be hidden as paraffinium liquidum. Now, most of you watching are probably not cosmetic chemists or, you know, into chemistry a whole lot like that. So you would not necessarily know to look for that when you are at the store. You would just be looking for mineral oil and then petrolatum, like I said. But make sure that you also see if you see something sneaky hiding in there that says paraffinium liquidum, because that also is a culprit. And again, it's the same thing as mineral oil. Now, let's recap. What are we going to look for? We're going to look for water as the first ingredient. We're going to make sure we see no mineral oil whatsoever in any hair product that we are purchasing if we have naturally dry hair. Third thing, we don't want to see any petrolatum whatsoever, because we are basically putting Vaseline on our hair when we do that. And you would not walk around with Vaseline on your hair trying to use it to slick back your edges, right? You wouldn't do that. So make sure that you follow those things, and you will find that the products you select will actually be better for you. Now, I'm not going to say you may not spend a little bit more money, because to be honest, better quality things oftentimes can cost more money, because higher quality ingredients cost the manufacturer, hence the brand, more money to produce it, right? So they have to charge accordingly, right? But you will have far less frustration with your hair if you are cognizant of the ingredients that are going into it. So again, when you're looking on Instagram, when you're looking on Facebook, when you're asking your friends, and everybody says, oh, I just love so-and-so brand, or I love this brand, or even I love Naturalicious, or whatever brand it is that they're saying that they love, and you hear a lot of people saying this, there's a very, very good chance that that brand has excellent ingredients or are known for excellent ingredients. If you hear some people kind of give mixed reviews or whatever, you may want to check those ingredients, because sometimes, and there are some very well-known mainstream brands that I'm obviously not going to name here, but some brands that have been around since we were kids, some brands that have been around since we was in our 20s, some brands that are even new on the scene who have crappy ingredients. And remember, at the end of the day, any business is about making money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but that's their objective, right? So oftentimes they're, this is obviously not for every single brand, because some brands absolutely do care about what they provide to their customers. Absolutely. But there is a lot of them that don't, and they're just in it to make the money. One more thing I want to share with you guys. It's so important to know this. The front of a label, it's not your friend. It's really not. The front of a label at the store is all marketing, for the most part, right? I mean, the size on the label is regulated by the FDA. So a brand cannot say that they have a 6-ounce bottle of whatever when it's really a 2-ounce bottle. So they can't lie like that. But everything on the front of the label is marketing for the most part. They can even use terms like natural and not be telling the truth. They can use terms like all natural, because those sorts of terms are not regulated by the FDA. The FDA does not regulate the terms natural or all natural or what have you. That's why you find so many products that say they're natural, but then you turn it around and look at the ingredients and you see they're everything but natural, right? They've got all these weird, scary chemicals that you can't even pronounce, right? And so that's because those terms is all marketing. So this is what I always say. You know how when you first meet a guy or a girl and they're just like everything you could ever have imagined. They're just like, oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? I've been waiting for you forever. You're my king, you're my queen, you're my knight in shining armor, my queen in shining armor, what have you, right? And then the newness wears off, and fast forward about a year, and you can't stand this person. You're like, who are you? Where'd you come from? Where's the person that I met? That's who I want back. I want the person that I met. Well, when you are at the store, the front of the label is what my mom will call the representative. That's the person that you meet, or the label is what you would meet in the beginning. They tell you everything you want to hear. They sound good. They look good. They smell good. Just everything is just about this. It's just, this is going to be your new holy grail. And then you get it home and you try it and you're like, darn, this sucks. Another product I've wasted money on. I got to throw it in my drawer. Got to throw it in my cabinets and maybe try to gift it to a friend of mine and hope that maybe they take it and get it off my hands. And I'll just be like, girl, I got too many products. I just want to share some products with you. Knowing good and well that you are not trying to share no products. You were just trying to get it out of your house, okay? So the ingredient list on the back is the real deal. That's that real person that you meet a year from now after you've invested all this time and energy and money and effort and love into this person, and they just stomp all over your heart, right? That's what the ingredient list was. But the ingredient, what if you could foresee that this person was going to do you like that in the beginning, right? Instead of a year down the line. Well, that's what the ingredient list is, right? The ingredient list tells you what you're about to get yourself into before you even spend your money on it, before you even leave the store. So again, this is why I keep telling you guys it's so important, so crucial, so vital to have ingredient and product knowledge. And the reason that so many people are frustrated with their hair, even though they've been natural for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years sometimes, is because they are looking at the front of that label and they keep getting their heart stomped on over and over and over, and they keep getting disappointed, and now they're jaded and they're gun shy to try new products and all that because they spend so much time and energy and money on things that don't work, because companies oftentimes have been selling them snake oil. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, as always, please leave me a comment. Love talking to you guys, and I see some comments coming in already, and I'm so happy that this has been helpful for you all. I will come back and we'll do another session on shampoos and conditioners and co-washing versus shampoo washing and how I feel about that and whether you should do it or not, and that should be a really good discussion. So you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.